Let me start with. See, what I'm going to do in my theme presentation, I'm going to discuss 6 judgments on different topic to ignite your mind, to invite your attention. Yes, on topic specific judgment going to be deliberated by learned speakers after my theme presentation, but my objective is to ignite your mind and create your awareness, and just to give a flavor what kind of webinar we are going to have today. I'm sure you'd be liking all the judgment which is evolving after GST got introduced on July 1, 2017. Having said that, let me start with the very first topic, GST input tax credit. GST input tax credit is being stated as a soul of any taxation system. But in GST regime, we have seen, though it was stated that GST ITC going to be seamless flow of credit, but there are so many riders with a condition and restriction that it is not seamless flow of credit. And number of judgments started coming in, which is very much important for us to digest and then accordingly move forward. What should be our take on those judgments and what is way forward? We have to decide, and we have to make sure that we are complying with the provision so that we can safeguard ourselves from any unwanted, unwarranted implication, tax implication, along with interest and penalty. Having said that, let me start with the very first judgment. Let's say you all are my buyer. You all are my buyer, recipient, and I'm your supplier. I have supplied for 10 lakh rupees, Delhi to Maharashtra, interstate, IGST charged. You being buyer has paid the amount to me, to the supplier. And supplier did not deposit the tax with the government exchequer, even after collecting the tax. What happened? Credit is available or not available to you. This is what the condition, one of the condition under section 16, subsection 2. When I look at section 16, subsection 2, initially there were 4 conditions for availing credit. You as a buyer or recipient should have tax invoice copy. You must have received goods and services. Your supplier must have paid taxes. And last, initial, that you as a recipient regularly filing GST return under section 39, recipient. 5th condition got added from 1st January 2022 that credit availed by you, recipient, in 3B must be matched with GSTAT 2B. And 6th condition got introduced from 1st October 2022 that whatever credit gets auto-populated in 2B, you must check that it is not restricted as per 6th restriction as specified under section 38. So this is a basic background given to you. Now, what practically we are finding very difficult today, that you as a genuine and honest buyer, recipient, has paid the amount to the supplier. Supplier, even after collecting the tax, is not depositing the tax, whether credit is available to you or not. This is the moot question which we need to see what judgment coming in and where we are heading for. Now, I will take you in the pre-GST regime, where this matter was under central excise and corresponding credit that is sunwet. Honorable Supreme Court had said in KK Industries Limited that credit can't be denied for the buyer for the fault of supplier of non-payment of taxes. In VAT regime, maximum High Court judgment, including Delhi High Court judgment, arise in India. It is being stated that credit can't be denied for the buyer recipient for the fault of supplier of non-payment of taxes. Yes, Bombay High Court judgment, Mahakottan Lakshmi case is against. But in GST regime also we have seen one Madras High Court judgment, D.Y. Bethel Enterprises. And in that judgment, it was categorically held that credit can't be denied for the buyer. And department should not demand reversal of credit from the buyer, from the recipient, unless they take action, initiate action against the defaulting supplier. But very recently, Patna High Court, in the case of Astha Enterprises, has held that if your supplier has not deposited the tax, even after collecting the tax, your credit, buyer's credit, recipient credit going to be denied. And in this judgment, a lot of point is being discussed. They have seen the Madras High Court judgment, D.Y. Bethel Enterprises. They have given the importance of one of the Supreme Court judgment pertaining to Karnataka VAT, Ecom Kill Global Coffee Private Limited, where genuineness to be proven by the purchasing dealer. Just having tax invoice or a payment is made through banking transaction, you are not entitled. Recipient is not entitled. But now let's listen very carefully. If credit is being denied for the recipient, for the buyer, the problem would be you have paid the amount and credit is being denied. It's a double baby. Why? Department can't take action against the defaulting supplier. When registration is being given by same GST department to both supplier and recipient, why recipient need to reverse credit? But that is how. In case of Astha Enterprises, this was argued that department could have gone to defaulting supplier and they could have initiated recovery proceedings against defaulting supplier. Why they are coming back to recipient and demanding reversal? Honorable Patna High Court did not hear that. They said even though the provision exists, but it is one of the conditions under section 16, subsection 2, clause C, that unless paid by the supplier, purchasing dealer will not get the credit. Just because double baby, it is not the argument. Just because it can be collected from supplier, it cannot be argued. This is what the Astha Enterprises Patna High Court judgment. For genuine and honest buyer, this is the problem, practical problem. And I can tell you some of the practical problem, starting with until GSTR 2A came into the picture, even as a recipient buyer, I was not knowing that after collecting the tax, it is not deposited by the supplier when 2A was not available. There is doctrine of impossibility. Lex non cogit ad impossibilia. You cannot compel a person to do something impossible. 2A was not available. I paid the amount to defaulting supplier. Defaulting supplier did not deposit. There was no window available whereby I can cross-check that this defaulting supplier has paid or not paid. Even 2A has come, I can also argue further that 2A is not sacrosanct. 2A may not give the correct picture. Let's say I'm having 10 lakh rupees as a supplier, I'm having 10 lakh rupees my outward supply, but intentionally I'm only showing 5 lakh rupees and depositing only 5 lakh. What happened to balance 5 lakh rupees, which I've collected and not shown and not deposited? So even though status in 2A will come as a file, but that is not the sacrosanct. There's no matching concept, ITC matching concept, which was introduced and emphasized in GST law, section 37, 38, 39, 41, 42, 43, 43A. This ITC matching and mismatching provision never got introduced. GSTR 2 and 3 never got implemented. But now everything falling back on genuine and honest buyer recipient. Having said that, my another argument is, and which is worth noticing, and we must pay attention to this provision. Okay, if supplier defaulted and did not pay the tax, even after collecting the tax, can you demand reversal? Where is reversal provision in GST law? Yes, if I look at section 73 non-fraud case, section 74 fraud case, you can go and collect this tax from the defaulting supplier, but where is the provision for reversal for the buyer for non-payment of taxes? Section 41 subsection 2, please note down, got notified from 1st October 2022. It was prospective clause, not the retrospective one. As per this section 41 subsection 2, it was stated that for non-payment of taxes by the supplier, you need to reverse credit. Very first time this provision got introduced, and prospectively, not retrospectively. I'm just giving food for thought. Can't it be argued before Honorable Court, my lord? Prior to 1st October 2022, there was no provision for reversal. Yes, there was one of the conditions, but there was no provision of reversal of credit by the recipient. It was very first time introduced prospectively from 1st October 2022. My argument. Alongside, I would like to draw your attention on the provision Rule 37A. Got introduced from 26 December 2022. Introduced by notification number 26/2022. What is this Rule 37A? Listen very carefully. It is very worth noticing, and you must carefully listen the same. Rule 37A saying, if your supplier, let's say financial year 22-23, let's take an example so that we can understand, for transaction pertaining to 22-23. You have taken credit and your supplier did not deposit the tax. Question is, can you take credit first of all? What is Rule 37A is talking about? Rule 37A is talking about you can take credit, but you have to follow the condition. Condition number 1, your supplier must pay this tax by 30th September 2023 through GSTR 3B. That is what Rule 37A is saying, that your supplier must pay by 30th September 2023. If your supplier does not pay by 30th September 2023, then you need to reverse credit recipient by 30th November 2023. If you don't reverse by 30th November 2023, then interest implication. And for interest, you must keep to your mind, interest going to be leviable only when this credit, which can be alleged as a wrongly availed credit, is being utilized. If it is not utilized, for my submission, interest is not applicable under section 50, subsection 3 of the GST Act. And subsequently, let's say your supplier pay this tax in April 2024, let's assume, then you can re-avail the credit. And for re-availment, there is no boundation of time limit, section 16, subsection 4. No time limit condition going to be applicable. So this is the first jurisprudence with the provision amended I have introduced and I have deliberated before you. Coming back to the second important one. Recently, Kerala High Court, in the case of TIA agencies, an issue was that some credit is not reflecting in your two-way. Whether this credit can be denied because it is not getting auto-populated or reflected in your two-way. This was the issue. And Honorable Kerala High Court has said that this credit, you can't say is not available just because it is not auto-populated in two-way. It can't be denied. And there are our region, why it is not getting auto-populated? Region could be maybe supplier has faulted with, he has shown B2B supply as a B2C. Or he has wrongly mentioned the GST number of recipient. Or place of supply which Delhi to Maharashtra should be Maharashtra, but wrongly shown as an intra-state. Did not file 1, but file 3B. It is not getting auto-populated in 2 ways. And the time period to rectify any omission or error as per section 37 for the GSTR1 is already or is also passed away. So what happened? It is not getting auto-populated. But you are having invoice, you have received goods and services, your supplier has paid taxes, you as a recipient also regularly filing GST return, GSTR3B under section 39. Why credit would be denied? In this particular judgment, the Honorable Supreme Court judgment was cited Bharti Airtel. And in Bharti Airtel, it was categorically said that two-way is only facilitation. Only facilitation is not determining factor, even though department has issued circular number 183, 193 and talking about reconciliation and certification, but whether two-way is really determining factor. There's no provision in the GST law as well. It was introduced by way of rule. Fifth condition which got introduced from 1st January 2022, it was only 2B. So Kerala High Court judgment, their agencies looks like to me good judgment on the legal footing. Third judgment, time limit to avail credit in GST. Section 16, subsection 4. Earliest of to date, due date of furnishing return under section 39 for September following the end of relevant financial year, which is quite obvious 20th October of next financial year, which is extended to 30th November, effective from 1st October 2022. And prior to that, it was due date of furnishing return under section 39, 3B, due date for September following the end of relevant financial year, or date of furnishing annual return, whichever is earlier. We have seen in the past that there are so many recipient and buyer has faulted with. In one of the case, March 2020 return GSTR 3B was due by 20th October 2020. But this taxpayer registered person has filed 3B on 27th November 2020. So after due date, 20th October 2020. And he has filed 3B along with late fees, because this provision was existing during those days because of COVID-19. So credit was denied because it was not within time limit as per section 16, subsection 4. Matter gone before Honorable AP High Court in the case of Thirumalakonda Plywood, and recently Patna High Court has also given judgment in the case of Jayam and Company. An issue which was raised before the High Court was point number 1, that section 16 subsection 2 starting with the non-obstante clause, notwithstanding anything contained in the section. So meaning thereby overriding section 16 subsection 4. No registered person shall take credit unless satisfied the following condition. So it was interpreted by the petitioner that section 16 subsection 2 is overriding section 16 subsection 4. Second, if GST department is allowing late filing of 3B with the late fees, then petitioner contemplated, then extended time period would be available for availing credit. And third prayer was that this time limit condition under section 16 subsection 4 is violative of article 14, 19, 1G and article 300 capital A. And let me tell you, there are a lot of writ petition in different high court. 2 judgment adjourn date, AP High Court, Thirumalakonda and Patna High Court has gone against. Let me tell you the basic background and we must take a note of it. With a GST input tax credit is a vested right, which we normally argue. To me and for my submission, it is concession or benefit, subject to satisfaction of certain condition. Once conditions are satisfied, then it becomes vested right. Please bear in your mind, it is concession or benefit given by the law, specific law. Once you satisfy the condition on date of availment, it becomes vested right. And once it becomes vested right, then it cannot be taken away by any procedural provision, like Philco Trade Center, Honorable Supreme Court in the case of transitional credit. So for my submission, this is concession or benefit. It becomes vested when we satisfy the condition. If conditions are not satisfied, then it is not vested right. Second, what is the context of section 16, subsection 2, starting with the non-obstante clause with versus section 16, subsection 4? Honorable AP High Court has said this is in the context of, and in the context means this need to be read separately. Just because section 16, subsection 2 is starting with non-obstante clause, it is only for the purpose because section 16, subsection 1 is giving the right to the registered person to avail credit. But availing credit with the condition under section 16, subsection 2. So section 16, subsection 4 is nothing but another condition within the time limit to avail credit. So this is different context. So it cannot be stated it is overriding. Coming to violation, Article 14, 19, 1G and Article 300 capital A categorically ruled out. It is not violated. And 2 back-to-back judgment coming from AP High Court and Patna High Court. An important one which was there that department allowed late filing of 3B with the late fees, whether it can accelerate your time period for availing credit. Honorable Court has said that they have allowed filing of 3B with late fees does not mean that your time limit get extended and you are being relieved. You have to file within time. So those who have taken a call that we will pay late fees and file the late 3B beyond the time period specified under section 16, subsection 4, it is rider for all of us. We have to wake up. And these 2 judgments contrary to our perception in case you have taken that call. Coming to the 4th. Nowadays, I'm finding proper officer is cancelling GST registration here and why for lot many regions. Let me first tell you what are the provision in GST law whereby proper officer is proposing cancellation of GST registration. Section 29, subsection 2. The specific condition proper officer may cancel GST registration if there is any violation of GST law and rules made thereunder. Such a wide provision. Second, if you're a composition dealer and you fail to file your return within specified time period. Third, if you are a regular dealer, registered person other than a composition dealer, and there is fault on your part for filing return continuously for a specified time period, 6 months. Fourth, you have taken voluntary registration, but you did not commence your business within 6 months from the date of registration. And next, fifth one, section 29, subsection 2, clause E, that registration is being obtained by means of fraud, willful misstatement, or suppression of facts. So these are the ground. They are picking up either or region and sending so-called notice with one-liner. In one of my client case for which I filed writ petition before Delhi High Court, I've got the judgment. That is the reason I'm sharing with you. Hopefully this judgment will come within a day or two. That one of my client got so-called notice that in so-called notice, proper officer has alleged that this client has taken registration by way of fraud or willful misstatement or suppression. No other thing, nothing extra is being explained in this so-called notice. And they wanted me to reply within 7 days. And immediately from the date of so-called notice, which was 16th May 2023, they have suspended my registration. What is the option available to me? Before I go to the option, listen very carefully. There are 3 ways we can look at. The first, either I could have filed revocation application, but that is only after order is being passed. So let me first complete. I submitted my reply to the so-called notice, and I wanted department to let me know why and on what ground. Department is alleging that I've taken registration, and registration was taken from 3rd May 2018. And I was continuing with the compliances. How all of a sudden in 23, they are alleging that I've taken registration by means of fraud, willful misstatement. So I wanted them to let me know the reason for that. They did not consider my reply, did not give me opportunity of being heard, did not cite any reason whatsoever for the allegation made, passed order cancelling my GST registration on 29th May 2023, and that too with a retrospective date, 4th May 2018. After having this order, I was looking at the options available within the GST law. Option 1 was revocation application under section 30, read with rule 23. And under section 30, there's a provision within 30 days. But this provision is now being amended from 1st October 2023. And when you go to rule 23, they are giving time period 90 days plus extended time period 180 days, which can be extended by commissioner or any proper officer authorized by additional commissioner or joint commissioner from 1st October 2023. So one option was revocation application. Second, I could have also filed appeal in GST regime under section 107, and for that time period is 3 months plus 1 month for the condonation for reasonable cause. And third, writ petition before High Court under Article 226 or 227 to the Constitution of India. I have gone for filing writ petition before Honorable High Court, Delhi High Court, because there was violation of principle of natural justice. Now, let me tell you what is this context which I'm referring to. Having option of revocation application, I did not opt it for. I did not opt it for filing appeal also. I have filed writ petition before Delhi High Court, and I have prayed before Honorable Delhi High Court, my lord. They have issued a so-called notice and alleged that my registration was obtained by means of fraud, willful misstatement or suppression, but nothing else they have explained in the so-called notice. When I replied within 7 days, as stated, even I requested, give me the reason why and on what ground. They did not consider my reply. So neither they consider my reply, nor they give me opportunity of being heard, not they cited any reason. They have cancelled my registration with no citation, no reason, nothing, and that too with retrospective date. My lord, there's a violation of principle of natural justice. Here I want to draw your attention. Having alternate remedy, revocation application or appeal under the GST law, whether you can go for the writ petition, option is available. available. You can go for writ petition. You have to prove 4 parameters. Either there's a violation of principle of natural justice, which was the case I have demonstrated before Honorable Delhi High Court, or violation of fundamental right, or excessive jurisdiction, or you're challenging bias of law. Honorable Delhi High Court has set aside impugned so-called notice and order cancelling my registration. And fortunate part, Honorable Delhi High Court has imposed cost 5,000 rupees on revenue as well. So this is one of the judgment on cancellation. So there would be different factual position where your registration get cancelled. You must check what are the ground available to you and how you can defend yourself. Coming to the 5th one. Another writ petition we filed before Honorable Delhi High Court, and the context was for refund. In GST, there are 2 supply, which is called zero rated. One is export of goods or services, and supply of goods or services to SEZ unit or developer. And 2 options available. Either you can follow under IGST route, or you can follow the route of refund of ITC under Rule 89, rate with Section 54, subsection 3 of GSTAT. Petitioner in this case has gone for LUT model refund of ITC, and their refund was denied on the pretext. Rule 89, Subrule 4, Clause C got amended from 23rd March 2020. And what is this rule? Let me tell you. As per this rule, they have said the value of export going to be restricted 1.5 times of like goods domestically supplied by same or similarly placed supplier. So if my export is, say, 1,000 rupees assumed, but if I'm domestically supplying the same quantity like goods for 300 rupees, maximum I will get 450, 300 into 1.5. That is what the implication. I filed a writ petition before Delhi High Court, and I prayed before Honorable Delhi High Court, my lord, this amended provision is prospectively implemented from 23rd March 2020. Thereby, they could not have denied my refund for the prior period when I have made the export. And prior period means I made the export from October 2018 to September 2019. They could not have applied this provision, which is prospectively applicable, if at all applicable, for the past period export. This was my first prayer. Second prayer, and we must know before I go for it, do we find any condition? When I look at Section 54, subsection 3, and let me tell you, the department has filed counter, and in their counter, they have relied on BKC footstep Honorable Supreme Court judgment. And as per them, a rule can be made and condition can be created. I pleaded before Honorable Delhi High Court and I said, my lord, condition which is being made by rule is possible only when provision of the act is permitting. In BKC footstep 54 subsection 3, in case of refund of inverted duty structure, it was specifically stated refund only on input, not on input services. Thereby the rule which was there pertaining to refund of inverted duty structure held valid. But in my case, there are only 2 conditions. That it should not be subject to export duty, and second, you're not claiming drawback. So there's no condition per se. And fortunate part, I was having Karnataka High Court judgment pari materia on this particular provision, which was relied by Honorable Delhi High Court. So they have refrained on constitutional validity because we have challenged that it is violative of Article 14 also. But they have refrained and they have said, we are abiding by Karnataka High Court and we are not going contrary, but your refund is being allowed and fortunate along with interest. And the last part of my theme presentation, just 2-3 minutes more, and then I will sum up. When we are talking about time limit to avail credit, there's a time limit to file appeal also in GST regime under section 107. Within time limit, we have to file appeal 107, 3 months plus 1 month. What happens if we are not filing appeal within time? Can we argue? Can we counter? Can we say that this order was not available to me, thereby I could not file my appeal within the time period? Let me tell you, Patna High Court in the case of Biswanath Traders and Issue Watch, which is upheld, this Patna High Court judgment was upheld by Honorable Supreme Court. Order was passed sometime on 12th March 2022. But appeal was filed on 8th August 2022. Even after considering Honorable Supreme Court suo moto judgment for the COVID period, excluding the specific time period from 15th March 2020 to 28th February 2022, excluding that period, this appeal was filed beyond the time limit. First appellate authority has rejected the appeal only on limitation. He did not heard anything on merit, said it is beyond the time limit. Writ petition was filed before Honorable Patna High Court, and Patna High Court has said, since you have not exhausted alternative remedy available to you within the time limit, and it is specific law, you cannot go to the General Limitation Act. You could have filed within the time period. Since you did not file, now your appeal is rejected. And again, it has gone to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court has upheld the judgment of Patna High Court. Is alarming for all of us together. We should not be casual. And sometimes we argue that we did not get the order. Sometimes we argue our lawyer or advocate got the order. We were not knowing about it. Sometimes we argue, no, it was kept here. No, I was not knowing whether it is on my portal, it is being uploaded. Then I would like to invite your attention on section 169, which talks about service. What is the meaning of service in GST law? Service of any notice, order, decree, summon. And there are alternative options made available, and word you sell. They are not saying may. It can be by courier, registered post, speed post. It can be sent to your email ID. Whatever email ID, if it is your ID, then your ID. If it is advocate ID or your tax professional's ID or chartered accountant ID, to their ID, because you have provided that ID only. It might be possible it may go to junk and spam. It can alternatively uploaded on your ID on portal. You have to cross-check and verify. You have to keep watch on portal as well. It may be publication in advertisement, local newspaper of your jurisdictional area. Or it may be affixed on your last known address at the door. If that is not possible, it can be affixed even on the notice board of the judicial proper officer, jurisdictional proper officer. So these are the alternate options given for a service. So you have to really prove yourself if there is not a service. But for proving that, you must have sufficient proof within your hand. Otherwise, now department going to cite this Patna High Court judgment, which is upheld by Honorable Supreme Court.